during the industrial age, companies were typically characterized by formal top-down hierarchies in which management instructed workers to perform certain functions. If you compare the approach to the human body, it was the case of the head ruling the hands. So it was no coincidence that therefore that 19th century workers were often referred to as hired hands. So tasks were well defined, often extremely repetitive and commonly micromanaged. By the beginning of the 20th century, machines took over the completion of most simple and repetitive manual tasks. As a result, the focus shifted from hiring people based on their physical abilities to employing them for their intelligence and mental creativity. The onus moved from task completion to goal achievement, with more autonomy given to employees to determine the best course of action to achieve a goal. This enabled company leaders to focus their efforts on broader strategies and directions. A manager's role in the post-industrial era was no longer simply to define and manage a task, but to include employees in the decision-making process. As a result, staff felt more valued and willing to use their initiative rather than wait for direction and perform under the thumb. As the new millennium delivers a different set of challenges, the term manager has lost its traction and has been replaced by the term leader. Management by instruction, or as we call it MBI, and management by objectives, MBO, have today been replaced by MBV, which is management by values. So it's about moving from the how, which is MBI, which is about MBO, which is about the what, and then MBV, which is about the why. 21st century leaders must therefore embrace a wider and deeper set of skills if they are to achieve victory. They must invest time, energy, and money in creating cultures worth belonging to, becoming leaders worth following, and generating work worth doing if they are to succeed in attracting, retaining, and empowering the talent needed to thrive. After all, just as no soldier has ever won a battle alone, no leader can ever achieve victory without the help of his or her troops. And like the captain of a ship, they must work alongside their officers in order to navigate the ship to the intended destination and circumvent any obstacles along the way. Instructions are no longer driven from the top down. Today, the course of a ship can be determined by the ship's navigator, the officer stationed on the radar, or the mechanic in the engine room. Ultimately, though, the responsibility for the final decision still rests with the ship's captain, which is about leadership. So, as leaders, we must understand that surrounding ourselves with the best talent is not enough. We must also nurture the talents and strengths of our employees by investing in their development and giving them greater responsibility. After all, our employees have their own life ambitions, which often include becoming leaders themselves at some point. Nurturing and mentoring your best talent and encouraging them to play an active role in the decision-making process is a small price to pay for the infinite rewards delivered from a team of dedicated, motivated, and hard-working individuals. Only such a team will possess what is necessary to achieve victory in the high-performance game we are all playing today. So with the world becoming smaller and people, your staff, your stakeholders, and your customers becoming increasingly savvy and wanting more than just a great product, price, dividend, or pay packet, being better than 98% of the competition is no longer good enough. The only positioning you can count on today is being number one in the world. So when I go back to Melbourne, which is my hometown from Dubai, people don't ask me about the tall buildings in Dubai. They ask me how is Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world, for example. So in order to face this new set of challenges in today's high-performance race to victory, past performance is no longer an automatic ticket to future success. Leaders today and in the future must embrace the holistic leadership approach along with a new set of mandate to lead and inspire their people. The three necessary attributes of a future leader are motivation, inspiration, and execution. In other words, future leaders must have the skills and qualities to motivate clarity, inspire certainty, and mobilize the troops. So if you analyze each attribute, motivation is an intrinsic state, which is from within. So in order to motivate others, you must first believe in yourself and be self-driven. Inspiration, on the other hand, can be extrinsic. So to inspire, you must understand that the employees have their own visions and life ambitions. To connect with them, you don't need to have the same ambitions and beliefs as they do, but you do need to be on the same page in terms of shared values and a desire to work collaboratively towards the achievement of a common goal. So there's an old proverb with that states, if you ask what is most important, I will say the people, the people, the people. Finding the best people starts with ensuring your organization is fit for the best people. This requires you to prepare your business and yourself as a leader to keep the best talent satisfied and motivated. But in order to keep the best talent satisfied and motivated, you must first understand what is that the best talent wants. And recent research shows that what they want has little to do with a pay packet. Topping the wish list today is a desire to be part of a strong, positive workforce or a workplace, personally valued and challenged, able to perform that adds value to the company and society, nurtured, developed, and empowered so that they have the best possible chance to one day fulfill their own leadership ambitions. So there are three things you must consider: the ability to establish and maintain a sense of engagement, the ability to create a sense of belonging, and also the ability to create a sense of worthiness and meaning. So let's look at the sense of engagement. Creating a strong, sustainable organization starts at the top. After all, without an influential leader, there's little chance of the organization or organization's culture becoming one that encourages a sense of belonging. An influential leader is someone who embodies the ideals of his or her people and has a deep interest in both the culture of the organization and the ongoing development and engagement of each individual team member. So looking ahead, looking at the ability to create a sense of belonging, workplace culture is becoming increasingly important as it affects everything from staff morale and discretionary effort to commitment, customer service, relevance, and ultimately the bottom line performance of the entire organization. A sense of belonging is achieved when staff members feel as though they are part of a culture that contributes something worthwhile, something that enriches not only their own lives, but also the lives of the colleagues, customers, families, and the community in which they live. But before you can even begin to create a sense of belonging for staff, you must have the ability to see your own existing workplace culture for what it is right now. So looking at the sense of worthiness, I know unlike generations before us who had little choice or resources available to them, they simply had to work to make a living. Meaningless work is no longer acceptable. The meaning of work is for many employees now regarded as a second payslip. Leaders must be very clear on the value and purpose of the work being done to ensure staff members feel they are making a positive contribution, both individually and as a team. So the youth of today are blessed to have got ready access to health services, an abundance and broad range of local and imported produce, strong cultural diversity, and quality education. The hard work of their forebearers has given them a strong foundation from which to springboard now. However, the downside of having born into a world of abundance means today's youth have missed out on the lessons learned by their forefathers. While there is no substitute for learning in the school of hard knocks, a close second would be for leaders who have done the hard yards to share their experiences with the next generation. This education would encourage our future leaders to remember and appreciate their roots, but not be shackled by them. So what else do we know about today's youth? We know that they generally have a mind of their own, which some misconstrue as being selfish. We know that they respect people for what they know as opposed to who they are, where they come from, or how old they are. We know they're part of a generation that was practically born with a tablet in one hand and a smartphone on the other. They live in a world in which a company of 55 people can create a company worth $19 billion in just 5 years, for example. It is our role as current leaders to imbue the next generation with our wisdom so that they may appreciate the history and learn from both our triumphs and our failures. So in helping to shape the next generation of leaders, there is also a growing call for today's leaders to support national identity and demonstrate the region's contribution to global leadership. But with the expat and visiting numbers growing as countries, becoming more attractive as a tourist destination and a business destination, a balance between traditional values of meeting the demands of a range of cultural, service, quality, and cost expectations flooding into the country or the region. So today's leaders must be prepared also to make the shift from yesterday's management and leadership style capacity to inspire, motivate, and mobilize the next generation of leaders for decades to come. In short, those who will thrive in the 21st century are those who master the ability to continually reinvent themselves to cater to our future leaders and the ever-changing needs of the market. Those that don't pretty much risk disappearing forever.